I'm going to take a moment to tell a little tulip poplar story, which probably isn't surprising to you, and then I'm going to offer you an invitation. So, in a previous video on tulip poplar medicine, I mentioned how when I first met tulip poplar, I was receiving a message that was very different from everyone else that was in my class at the time. Maybe there were 30 of us, and there was a collective message that the other women were receiving, and then there was the message that I was receiving. And some of you may recall that everyone else was hearing, feeling, tulip poplar is so loving, tulip poplar loves humans, it's so loving. And the message that I was receiving was this feeling of it being an impenetrable fortress. And Matthew Wood, my teacher during that series, sort of quieted the room down by saying, that's enough. It's teaching Amanda something different. And here I am 10 years later, and what has been different and what I've learned from this tree, I don't think either he or I could have imagined at the time. And so since that time, I've taken my own path. I've taken my own path not only with tulip poplar, but also with what we call herbalism. Just this morning I was having a conversation, yet another conversation with someone on this topic, which was, what is an herbalist? What is the definition of an herbalist? And I said to the person I was speaking with, I think we're asking the wrong question. We're looking to define a word and then to slip ourselves into the definition of that word, which could be square peg, round hole for some of us, right? Instead, maybe the question that we're wanting to ask is, who am I, and what does it mean for me to be an herbalist? So, what is an herbalist as it expresses itself through Lily? What does it mean for being an herbalist to express itself through my friend Rebecca? Or what does it mean for being an herbalist to express itself through my teacher at the time, Matthew Wood, or my first teacher, Teresa Boardwine? Or what does it mean for being an herbalist to express itself through me? And so a question is, what is my medicine? Not how do I open up the books and learn the medicine, though I love books and there's much to learn there, but to take it a level deeper and ask, what is my medicine? What am I here to embody? So this is the path that I've been on, is trying to answer this question for myself. I didn't want to just regurgitate or repeat, what my teachers had given me, though I valued it, and it's a foundation for me, and I stand on it, and it's wise, and there's experience there. But I also wanted to find, what is my own voice? How do I say this? How do I talk about violet? How do I talk about oak? Who are my allies? What are my stories? And this is true for all of us. This is the question all of us are asking, whether we're on a path with herbalism and plant medicine, or a different path entirely, as a writer, as an accountant, as a dancer, as a midwife, as a mother, a friend, a partner, as a human. Our question is, what does it look like for me to embody my essence and express it in the world? So this was apparently a question. Hey, Amber. This was apparently a question that I was asking long before I was introduced to herbalism. I remember when I was in college, I was an English lit major, and so you look in the catalog and they have all the classes that they have listed for you to take, and most of the classes that aren't sort of the core, 200 level type classes that you have there, they are classes that the professors have created because that's what interests the professor. If you're taking 400 level classes, the professor wanted to create that. So I took one called Modern Fiction, and the professor, Dr. Tate, he has an interest in that and the themes that are there in the books and the authors, he creates the class. So here I am taking classes from a catalog that was predetermined by someone else for the things that I should know, that I needed to know if I was going to graduate with a degree in English Lit. And then I'm taking classes based on the interests of my professors, which some of them were incredibly interesting. I loved Dr. Tate's classes. Other classes I took, not so much, not my favorite. So I'm starting to look and say, well, what are my interests? As I gather this information, as I have exposure to different books and authors and ideas, what is my interest? And I ended up requesting to do an independent study on dystopias, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I chose the books and the author and met regularly with Dr. Tate, and we crafted a whole semester around dystopias. That's also really interesting to me because here I am 20 some years later, and a theme for me is New Earth, a new world, and not a dystopia. Not even a utopia, something beyond that and transcending that. But I've got that interest still, this idea of dystopia, utopia, the new earth, new world. Exactly. Ember says our own brands of magic, our own medicine. So as what people call an herbalist and as a teacher, I started to think, can't I offer this to the world? Can I offer this gift, what I experienced as an English Lit major? Can I not offer that in the herbal world, in the plant medicine world? Because to be honest with you, I kept trying to fit my own medicine into this rubric of what herbal school looks like, and it just doesn't fit. I just am not the conventional mainstream definition of that. So I started to kind of slide off in my classes, and we learned about elementals and water and interacted with land, and I kept wanting to talk about dragons and other dimensions and love the plant spirit, plant communication aspect of things. So I basically decided to just give up on doing what is considered a sort of traditional or mainstream approach to herbal medicine, and forge my own path with that, which is continuing to be forged. I'm on my way with what I want to do with that, primarily with ways of offering tulip poplar medicine. But I thought, what can I do for other people that are on the path of plant medicine that have this same desire, for themselves, who also are thinking, I don't want to do what I've already done, right? But I want to keep growing and I want to keep learning because I have interests. I have questions. I want to keep, wandering down the path or off of it or into the woods, right? So what I decided to do was I decided to create an offering that at the moment is titled Plant Medicine Virtual Residencies. So I wasn't a fan of the idea of mentorship, although some people like that word, and that's totally fine if that's how you want to view it. But I just didn't like the way it was feeling that I would act as someone's mentor and they would look up to me in some way. Really, I was feeling more like I wanted to be a guide, a facilitator, or a way shower, or a companion, right, along the way. I also didn't want to use the word apprenticeship because I felt like that gives the idea that, like, I'm going to sort of pass my mantle onto you, or we're going to work together in such a way that when I hear that word, I think of, like, sort of the practical doing, the medicine making, and doing clinical work together. That's what I think of when I hear that word. That wasn't really what I was going for either. Like I said, more of a facilitator, a guide, a companion, a way shower. So I chose this idea of a residency because I had begun to work as a assistant director, I guess that was the title, at a local artist residency, and was like, why can't this happen with plants? Artists come here, they choose what they want to study, they choose what they want to sort of immerse themselves in. It's their own project, their own subject, and they go for it. So why can't we do this in the world of herbal medicine? And then as this idea came while we were in the middle of the pandemic, and our world is very large, even without the pandemic, virtual ways of relating are part of our lives now. So we have the plant medicine virtual residencies that I offer, where people are able to choose their path. Even if you want to continue down the path that you're on, even if you like the conventional way and you're not finished with it yet, but you just want some one-on-one attention, interaction, connection, just a tighter, more personal container, it's possible. Or you can completely wander off into the woods. Like I have one of my former students and friends, she's on the live now, and she is elementals and fairies in my world. So what if she just wanted to dive into that and take off, and explore her relationship and her connection to the elemental world and the stories behind it and the myths, and connect with the plants and write her stories and make them, just take it. Where does it want to take you? And then I have so many people who have come who want to strengthen their connection with the plants, with plant communication primarily, being able to trust that they hear what they hear, right? That I heard it. Mullen said that. Rose said that. Whatever said means in the realm of plant communication. And so building that's you, Amber, the fairies. So some people have come, though, and said, this is the path I'm on. I'm a writer, or I'm an acupuncturist, or I'm an artist, and I paint and I make things with my hands. But I want to draw in plant medicine as part of what I embody in this world, as a collaborator in the work that I do to enhance and complement what I'm doing in the world. And so we come together and we do that. So it's been really lovely to watch people, to witness them choosing their own path, discovering their own medicine if they hadn't already, coming into a greater embodiment and expression of their own medicine and their essence. And I love this word because of tulip poplar, incarnation. Like, I feel like as people move through these residencies, they are more fully incarnating into this world, like more fully bringing in their essence, their soul into this world, into the body, to walk the path. And I just love the idea of there being, and there are, infinite paths, infinite expressions. So part of what I have sometimes seen in the herbal world, but it's everywhere, in so many arenas, this is the way, and they're not doing it this way, and it has to be this way. Maybe not. Maybe there's many ways to find the expression of art, of music, of plant medicine, of math, of soccer, even like philosophy. There's this guy, he's like so good. He's one of my favorite Instagram accounts to follow, but he majored in philosophy. He lives in New York. He's an adjunct professor, but he's like totally into words and rap. So he's combined them together, and he makes these amazing rap songs all around these philosophical ideas, and it's incredible. Why not? Why can he only teach it this way, or only say these things? Why not exploring? There's so much left out there that we haven't yet touched or discovered, right? And I really do believe, as I think I've said recently, even in a video, that the earth, the world, it's shifting, it's changing. It's time for some new medicine. We have what we have. It's beautiful. And maybe most of it we will take forward with it. Some of it we'll leave behind. I was reading some descriptions the other evening of some homeopathic remedies, and it was a little disturbing what was happening physically to some of the people. And I thought to myself, reading the case studies, does this even happen anymore? Do people even experience these type of physical symptoms anymore? Any of you who've read the case studies with homeopathy know what I mean. And I kind of feel that way now. that we continue as humans to grow, to evolve, to shift, to change, and so does our world, and so there's new medicine. And I believe that those that are willing to be innovative, to step off the path, to merge some of the old and the new, to weave in some new threads, are the ones that are going to be bringing in new medicine to the world. And the new medicine really is just whatever's inside you. So these are what I offer. They, at this time, they're 6 months long. We meet once a month, one-on-one, and then there's space in between for integrating and exploring and processing and working through practices that you choose, exercises, whatever, just the exploration, the meandering, but also the container that holds you. Some of them could be shorter, maybe some of them could be longer, but that's the average. So that those are available with just whatever choices people might have. And usually we talk beforehand and have a conversation, and I hear where you're at, what do you want? What is your heart longing for? What do you want to explore? What plants are calling out to you? And then we sort of give some shape for how to begin. Like, look at our map and sort of chart our course with a definite willingness to make necessary adjustments and changes along the way, depending on where the plant and the magic, takes you. But what I would like to start, what I've chosen to begin, is a very sort of special tract with the virtual residencies, because I want to experiment a little and see what's possible. So beginning in May, I am opening up, and this is rather large for me, I'm opening up 10 spaces for creative virtual residencies. And by that, I mean, not that the ones that I've been doing haven't been creative. They've been incredibly creative, like I said, with writers and artists and all sorts of things that are happening, businesses. But I'm choosing with this tract, beginning in May, from May to October, to really focus on this idea of creating. So, is there something that you would like to create with the plants as your partners, with the plants as your collaborators? Do you want to create a business? Do you want to create a book? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to create a dance, a choreography? Do you want to create a place? Is it a garden or even a home renovation? Do you want to create a life? Is there a life that you have in your mind, that you want to create? Do you want to create a new technology? For real, like seriously, and bring in the plants as collaborators and partners in this endeavor. And it's so beautiful. There's so many plants that offer creative medicine, not only for the ideas, but the embodiment and the giving of form. I love it too, Amber, to our ideas. This idea of taking what's in the imaginal realm, the quantum field, our imagination, our ideas, the spirit, ether, and drawing it in to give it tangible form in this 3D world, the manifestation. So when I wrote my book, I had the idea of my book, but then I had to write it. I had to take the pen, put it to paper, write it out, edit it. I chose to self-publish, so format. For some of you, it's probably overwhelming to even hear me say those words, and I will say at the time, it had elements of overwhelm, but I really did have plants as my allies. At that time, beech, blackberry, tulip poplar, and all the plants that were in my book, violet and others, came in to bring it into form. There are so many more, though. And I have to tell you a message, and then I should probably stop talking, because I can go on and on and on. From Black Cohosh. So I sat with Black Cohosh with one of my clients, and I'm holding space for her so that she can listen and receive messages for herself. We share together, but I'm holding space for her. But what I received was a message from Black Cohosh. Speaking of Black Cohosh, yes, but also a message collectively from the plants that said, plain, we are creative. Right? And just think about it, like they unfurl their leaves, they open their petals, they bloom, they have all sorts of different colors and shapes and styles and textures and even ways that they'll tilt or that they'll move. Like every day is a recreating of the work of art that is themselves. But also, they, like us, are an embodiment of the divine creator, the creative energy. And unlike us at this time, they don't have some of the blockages. They don't have the amnesia that we have. We don't remember who we are or where we came from or why we're here. We're waking up, hopefully. Layers upon layers of waking up and of remembering. But they already remember. They never forgot. And so they're here embodying the creative energy of the creator, and then also so very willing, more than willing, to partner with us in that endeavor. All of this to me feels like a return to the garden. Those of you that are familiar with the biblical story, and of course there are others, of this paradise, this Garden of Eden, Edenic beginning, that was this earth and this place. And I really do believe a return to it and more is possible with remembering and embodying our creative energy, understanding that we are creator beings, and then creating whatever it is we want to create, macrame, pottery, a cake, and also realizing that in doing that, I can actually create a world. I can create a cake, I can create a party, I can create a day, I can create a memory, I can create a life, I can create a world, like a waking up in this way. So that track for creative residencies opens in May, and there will be one-on-one individual sessions each month for people who are part of that residency. But then there will be monthly gatherings, virtual gatherings, of everyone that is a part of it, so that we can share the creative energy, the creative medicine, the messages, so that we can feel the energy of each other creating in this space, because it's always good to be blessed by the good energy of those that are around us, especially when we're in creative endeavors. So there'll be the one-on-one sessions each month, and then the monthly virtual meetups where we will share what we're creating and what we're receiving from the plants in our path and our journey. And then in the in-between time, from individual session to individual session, you'll have your own practices, your own exercises, your own journaling, your own creating, your own sitting, your own listening, your own dieting, whatever is chosen during your session to fill your next month, to sort of be like little nudges along your path to keep you moving, and which turn and which way. So I think it will be very lovely. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, to combine the plants with the creative energy. So the idea is not simply to become an herbalist, but to discover your essence, yes, with the virtual residencies, and then even take it intentionally a little further and say, and if this is your essence, and now with this essence, what are you here to create? So the divine is the divine, and then fully contained there in itself then speaks and breathes something new into the world. Do you see? So that's the idea. Is like we have the virtual residencies with plant medicine where we discover what is your medicine, which you're welcome to do. And then I want to focus with this particular track and this particular circle of people coming together and sort of experiment with, now this is my essence, and now this is what I want to breathe or speak into the world or dance or hands or whatever. So I think I'm just going to glance because I made some notes. I want to be sure that I said what I want to say. It looks good to me. I feel good. So I want to invite you to be a part of these residencies, whether you want to choose the main track, the virtual residency, where you can choose whatever you like, and you don't really feel like you want to focus so pointedly on the creative aspect. You just, if it comes, it comes, but you have other things you want to do. Maybe you do want to learn more about herbal actions and constituents and the medicine making, or, you know, a different way of being. You have your own thoughts, your own plans on that. And then I want to invite you for what will begin in May of this year, May of 2022, May 1st, this track with 10 individuals who are wanting to focus on collaborating with the plants, a creative collaboration with the plants, and see what comes in the end. It'll be curious to see if what comes is what was intended, or if there's something entirely new that comes from that collaboration, which is, you know, so often the case. Okay, so I'm going to go, so you can visit the website, alchemillas.com. You'll find the tab there, and embodied plant medicine, virtual residency link is there, and you can send me a note if you'd like to be a part of it, and we can have a conversation about what it might look like for you, and we'll go from there. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to try to turn this off now. All right, bye-bye.